Alrighty, so we're going to be replacing the heater hose connectors and two little heater hoses on this 2006 LBZ Duramax. Parts are over here. We've got the Dorman stainless steel fittings to go back with, hose clamps if I need them, and both the little hoses. Those are your Dayco part numbers. They will cross-reference over to others, I'm sure. And then the Dorman part numbers are there. Now the Dorman pieces, they do fit 99 and up GM trucks, including the Suburban and Tahoes, as long as you do not have rear heat. If you have rear heat on those vehicles, they run a T-style fitting that is all plastic. As far as I'm aware, you can't upgrade to the stainless steel like that. One of the things that's going to be helpful doing this job is a loud disconnect kit like this. More specifically, this green one here, I'll be using to get the heater hose connectors off. You can pick these up at your local parts stores, Amazon, Summits, etc. They do just sell this, not the rest of these. I've seen this kit in particular anywhere from like $50 to $80 online. But this will help getting these quick connect fittings off, which this kit works on a lot of other things, including these heater hoses with fuel lines, AC lines, etc. You do not have to have this. You can do a more caveman approach and take a long metal pick and heat it up with a torch and let it cut through the old plastic connectors, and I'll kind of show the connector itself once I get it off a little more in depth, and you'll just melt through, basically cut it in half, and then you can split it with a screwdriver. Tool wise, pretty simple. Got a ratchet with an 8mm, so I have to take the intake duct off, just at least an elbow, just to get back there. A pair of pliers for the spring type hose clamps, my disconnect tool, and then factory, one of the factory heater hoses has compression fittings. I'm actually going to cut them off on the truck side, the pipe side, and put this hose back in place with at least one of these clamps, just because it's cheaper and easier than replacing the whole entire pipe. And then the pipe still has a compression fitting with the plastic heater hose quick connect instead of this metal one, and I want the metal ones because they last longer. So first step on this Duramax is going to be getting this elbow out of my way, just so I have more room to get back there. If this was on a gas truck like a 5.3, 6.0, 4.8, you wouldn't have to take any of this off unless it was like an 08 or up, and the shroud up here on top of the motor, you can pop it off, and it just gives you a little more working room when you're trying to get back to those quick connect fittings. Set that out of the way, and now we're going to go after those. I have not drained the antifreeze down on this. I would recommend it. This thing's already low on antifreeze because it's been leaking, so I'm probably going to lose a little bit, but it is what it is. This thing works. You just feel around behind the quick connect, get it around the heater core piping, and then slide it in, and you're gonna feel it set in and be almost flush with this on the connector. There's little tabs back there that it releases, and then I like to, once I get that set, take the heater hose and twist it back and forth, and then it should just slide right off. A little bit of practice, it gets pretty easy. I've done quite a few of these because they're pretty common. But all this does is sits in there and depresses them back. It's 4 of them, kind of a square shape but round style connector, and then I just twist it back and forth to break the O-ring seal, and they slide right off. Easy peasy once you do it a few times. Or like I said, take a long metal pick, get it hot, and you just kind of lay it and let it melt through this, and then it'll eventually get to the point you can take a screwdriver and split it, and they'll usually just break. You can work it all off, get it out of the way. Now for number 2. There it goes. And done with that part. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one side that is just a clamp on. Try to get it off if I can get to it. They never put these clamps where you can get to them. Never. And there we go. We'll get these clamps off, and I'll probably just reuse the spring clamps, so I ain't gotta come back and tighten them as often. And then where this compression fitting is, I'm not cutting this one off, but I will cut the one down here off. We'll run the hose on it, that new piece of hose over there, and a clamp there and a clamp here with the new stainless. Get the stainless one on this one, get these clamps transferred. I just stuck the hose on it while I'm working on this, so it's not making as much of a mess. It's still making a little bit of a mess, but I can deal with it. Hopefully that stainless piece makes more sense on how that thing is designed. The plastic ones are the same. They have the 4 tabs, and that's what that green disconnect tool was depressing to allow it to slide off of the heater core. The stainless ones, they don't suffer as much like the plastics do from getting hot and cold and just aging. The O-rings will probably still fail with time like anything, but these should last a lot longer. And then in the end, really simple to change out. Pop it off, take a hose clamp off, slide this one out, slide a new one on it, and back together and ready to roll. Really simple otherwise, just kind of a nuisance. One thing I do recommend is visualizing how these hoses are going to sit once they're hooked on both ends, and making sure this clamp is turned one way or the other so that it does not interfere with this hose or the body or anything like that. So I'll finish adjusting that one once I get the other end hooked up and get it set. Now is the time to move them, because once you get them hooked up back in there, getting a pair of these back here to do anything with that spring clamp is next to impossible. So in this case, I've actually got this one turned facing that direction, which is where I want it. So I'll go ahead and hook it back up. Make sure you hear that click so that you know that it's all the way on there. And now all I need to do is cut this compression fitting. All I'm gonna do is just cut a slit through it with a cutoff wheel. Be mindful not to cut into the pipe underneath. This part, the end of my fingernail, is actually part of the pipe. It's kind of where the compression fit in the hose kind of stop, is all it is. So you just want to cut this part, not any of this. That way, once you cut this, it'll release. You can take a screwdriver, pry it open, and then it's just a hose underneath. And you can slide your new one on and be back in business. go. So once you cut through the compression fitting enough, you should better just take a big screwdriver and kind of break it loose, and then just keep working at it till it opens all the way up, and you can get it off. And like that, one compression fitting out the way. And then we'll get our pliers in here, get that opened up, or a hose, tool, whatever you got. And we'll have this ready to go on. So when you can't find your hose tool, you can always resort to a razor blade. Just make sure you don't cut yourself. Doing the same thing I did to the compression fitting, and now I'm just doing it to the hose, and just like that. Already got the other clamp tight, so we will put it in place and make sure we click all the way on there. And that's 2 heater hoses and the connectors changed out. A lot of vehicles are running that stop. Alright, too much light for you. There you go. You can kind of see that stop. See, I didn't push the hose over top of that. Anything that has that, don't push the hose over top of it. Push it until it's just barely flush. You do not want the hose to flare out, because then the clamp will struggle to keep tension on it and keep it sealed, and you'll have leaks. Something I've seen a lot of people do. They'll push on too far, or it'll have like a just a raised ridge that runs in line with it. GM's good for that on their newer stuff. You don't want it to get up on top of that and kind of flare the end of that hose out, and it'll cause problems. And now I'm just going to finish putting everything back together, and we will get it topped off with antifreeze. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to bleed the system. I may try to vacuum seal this one. We'll see how it goes, considering it's just a partial drain and not a complete drain. And then I'm gonna go hunting for that 8mm and extension that I dropped somewhere in this abyss of an engine bay. And after that, we will be done. And I'll probably want to run a little bit of cleaner down there and just rinse some of that out. Like I said, it wasn't much because it was a partially drained system to begin with. It was just what's kind of left in the heater core and those lines right there. But that's it. That's changing those style connectors and the hoses on Duramax. The gas trucks are very similar. Like I said, actually it's easy. You don't have to take none of this off. Just maybe the plastic shroud over top. The gas truck lines, one of them is just a straight heater hose, goes down down here on the water pump, because this is of course a different design, and it's just a straight hose. You can replace it with a section of 5/8 hose, probably 3.5 foot long depending. And then the other one is actually made into a molded T that also connects the reservoir to the water pump on those gas trucks. Again, this is a diesel, so it's different. Dorman, I believe, makes a replacement piece, a little pricey, but then you get, I believe, a metal T with the spring style clamps. And if you ever have a problem with it in the future, you can replace just the sections instead of replacing the whole assembly at one time. But most of the time we just replace that one section of hose, unless the other hose, that T, is causing problems, and just the connectors on the gas trucks, and we don't have any more issues out of it. Got our antifreeze set to the cold fill mark, and we'll crank it up and take it for a spin, make sure nothing's leaking, no strange noises or anything like that, which it shouldn't be, because all I do is heater hoses. But there may have been some water that got on the belt or something like that at some point from spillage. Quick test drive is over with. The heat is working, the temperature gauge is staying where it needs to be, and the thermostat didn't open up and control the temperature, so we know we don't have any air pockets. I'll let it sit overnight and cool off and just double check the fluid levels. But that completes this project, so we'll be on to another one.